Hi everyone, it's Todd Milewski from the State Journal here in South Bend, Indiana, where the Badgers men's hockey season comes to an end with a 4-2 loss to Notre Dame in Game 3 of the Big Ten quarterfinal series here at Compton Family Ice Arena. The Badgers won Game 1 of this series 3-1, but lost Game 2 on a last-minute goal, 3-2, and then fell behind 2-0 on Sunday in the deciding Game 3. Twice cut the lead to 1 goal, but never were able to get back even, and the Notre Dame wall went up in the third period, and the Badgers couldn't really get much through it to try to get a tying goal. So 4-2 loss for Wisconsin. It ends the season at 10-24-3. That's the second worst record in the modern era. Second worst season by record, I guess, in the modern era. Let's put it that way. And that's going to be the takeaway for a lot of this. But and I wrote this in the story that's going up on madison.com that you'll be able to read. That wasn't reflected in what we saw here in South Bend this weekend. And I think that surprisingly, after the regular season ended the way it did, being outscored 13-0 at Minnesota, I think expectations were pretty low from the outside on the Badgers for this weekend. But they put out a really good effort on Friday, get a win. They go down 2-0 on Saturday, which is generally on the road, going behind by 2 against a team like Notre Dame. Not a good formula, but they come back to tie it. And they're 20 seconds away from getting it to overtime, which as Jared Moe told me after tonight, who knows? It sucks to be that close, is what he said. Never knowing what's going to happen in overtime. But they fell behind again tonight. Notre Dame had a better push at the start, and they just didn't have a way of getting that tying goal, like I mentioned before. I credit Notre Dame. I mean, that's a team that when it gets a lead, tough to find your way back. And so the Irish move on. They will play Michigan in a Big Ten semifinal next week. The other Big Ten semifinal, I have to be honest with you, I've been so tuned in to what's going on here and with the women's NCAA selection show. I don't know. It's Penn State leading 2-1 with a minute and a half left. So maybe by the time we're done with this video, we'll know who Minnesota plays in the other semifinal, if you care. Badger fans may not. Hockey fans should. So I think there's something to be said about the fact that the Badgers lineup today was piecemeal. Josh S. playing at forward. He's a defenseman. He moved up when Ryder Donovan went out yesterday. He took that, not that spot. They moved Sam Stang into a center role, which is another shift, another blow at center, as if the Badgers needed more of those. And it was just put together with hopes that they'd be able to stay in this and scrape out a win and get to Minnesota next week. But they couldn't quite make that happen. So it starts an off season of major questions. I mean, starting with, is Tony Granato still the coach going forward? I don't have a good feeling. I mean, I don't have a good sense of where that's headed. Granato is planning on being back. Let's say that. After he talking to him tonight, he is saying, here's what we're going to do. He once again took the blame for not having the pieces that this team needed to be more of a competitor in the Big Ten. And he said that he has a plan to not have that happen again. He said the players that will come back from this team will be winners by the time they leave Wisconsin. That's what he said tonight. and he said 2 or 3 years ago, after a down season, he planned to turn it around and compete for a Big Ten championship, and that's what happened last season. It feels like it's a big road ahead to get there, but it's his intention to start it up again. And so we'll see whether he gets that chance or whether administration decides that it's time for a change after 4 losing seasons out of the last 5. I've been trying to read the tea leaves and trying to read between the lines. I don't have a sense of which way it's going to go. I believe that it was tough on the program to see how the regular season ended with that Minnesota series. I do think there was some coming back from that this weekend, but you wonder, was it enough? Too little, too late, obviously, for the season, but seeing the effort that the team put out there this weekend, I think you can credit them for having that effort and bringing that in a situation where, like I mentioned before, not a whole lot of people thought that's the way it was going to turn out. But I have a question here from Tana, and I appreciate your words, Tanner. Always good having you as part of this season, and you too, Lydia, and all of you who have joined me here all season. I really do appreciate you dropping in for these or watching them later or whatever. But the question is, who do you think will come back? Well, we know that it's the end of the road for Tyler Inamoto, for Josh S., for Tarek Baker. Then there's that next group of seniors that we don't know for sure about. I've asked a few. They said, the ones that I've talked to said they weren't sure yet. They were going to make a decision after the season. So do you get someone like Dominic Mersch back for a 5th year? The different Jack Gorniak, the difference Brock Caulfield. I shouldn't really start listing them off because I'm going to forget someone here, but this is the difference next year is that the teams don't get scholarship relief, and so it's if they want to keep them on scholarship, they have to find that within their 18, or the players have to pay their own way. So that does introduce a different wrinkle into it than it does this year. So I forgot to mention Max Johnson as one of the group that is 5th year. So that's where that one stands. Craig says Penn State wins 2-1. So there's your first road team winning a series in the Big Ten quarterfinals. So Wisconsin wanted to be that team this weekend, but Penn State is the one that gets it done. Tanner asked about Mo. He's intending to be back, yes. In talking to him tonight, he's talking about summer of workouts and how that's going to be different for him because he didn't get into Wisconsin or get in and started working with the program until late this summer after transferring. But so that will be a change for him. It's a big off season for a lot of people. Let's be honest. A lot of players have to grow, have to get maybe a little faster, a little stronger. A lot of the freshmen saw what it's like to play in college and understand what they need to do to be a college player at that level in the Big Ten. And I think that that should motivate a lot of them going into next season. That, of course, is on them and on the staff to make sure it happens, the conditioning staff to make sure they get finish out the school year, and then when they get them back in the summer for their conditioning program, that it builds from there. So this is, like I mentioned, this is it for us here for the men's hockey season anyway. I'm planning on being with the women's hockey team and in Boston, assuming I can get flights and hotels and all that stuff. This is really crazy seeing this all develop at the same time as I'm trying to write the season-ending story for men's hockey. It was a weird night here for me in South Bend. But I will be doing these after women's hockey games the rest of the way, so I hope you'll join me for those. But I do want to, again, say thank you to all of you who've been on here, been following through the season. I know I've heard from a lot of you that obviously this is not the kind of season you had hoped this team would have after winning the Big Ten last season. Falling back pretty hard was a difficult thing for a lot of fans to accept, and I don't know that it should be accepted, but it is the way it went. Too many really, really good players left last season. I mean, this is the one sentence takeaway from the season. Too many good players left last season and weren't replaced in adequate numbers. So I do hope you'll stay with us at madison.com and make sure you consider subscribing. We've got great content. I will keep bringing the hockey content as much as I can. That's my promise to you. I will be advocating for hockey in Madison and UW and making sure it gets the coverage it deserves. And I hope you'll join us here this next week and beyond, however long it goes with the women's hockey team, to as I try and show you that, and make sure you consider being a subscriber. Check a link on madison.com. So thanks, everyone. It's been a blast as always. I will see you for a men's hockey game next October. I'm looking forward to that greatly. I will see you for a women's hockey game here this next week. Best to all of you. Have a good night. Once again, the final here, Notre Dame 4, Wisconsin 2, to wrap up the Badgers 2021-22 season. Have a good night, everyone.